Julius Caesar was one of the greatest military commanders in history. He conquered vast territories and was a politician who changed the future of Rome. For over 2,000 years, his story has been told through books, paintings, films, and statues. But there is one question that has fascinated historians for centuries. What did Julius Caesar actually look like? In today's video, we're going to learn about the fascinating life of Caesar and then see what he really would have looked like at the end of the video. So let's go ahead and get started. Julius Caesar was born on the 12th of July 100 BC into the patrician family of the Julii Caesares. Although the family had a prestigious name, they were not among the most powerful or wealthy families in Rome at the time of Caesar's birth. Caesar grew up during a period of significant political instability in the Roman Republic. Rome was expanding rapidly across the Mediterranean, but tensions were increasing between different political groups. Powerful generals were gaining influence through their military successes, while political disputes between the Senate and ambitious individuals were becoming more common. As a young man, Caesar experienced the political conflicts of Rome firsthand. During the civil conflict between the supporters of the general Gaius Marius and the dictator Lucius Cornelius Sulla, Caesar's family's connections placed him on the side of Marius. When Sulla became dictator in 82 BC, Caesar was ordered to divorce his wife Cornelia, whose family was connected to Sulla's political opponents. But Caesar refused. Although he was eventually forced to leave Rome for a period, he later returned after Sulla's death. Caesar began his military career in the 80s BC, serving in Asia Minor. During this period, he gained experience as a soldier and developed a reputation for courage and leadership. He later returned to Rome and began his political career through the traditional Roman system known as the cursus honorum, a sequence of public offices that ambitious Romans followed. In 60 BC, Caesar formed a political alliance with two of Rome's most influential men, the wealthy politician Marcus Crassus and the general Pompeius Magnus, better known as Pompey the Great. This alliance, known as the First Triumvirate, allowed the three men to dominate Roman politics for several years. Caesar's greatest opportunity came in 59 BC when he was elected consul, Rome's highest elected office. The following year, he was appointed governor of Cisalpine Gaul and later Transalpine Gaul. These positions gave him control of Roman armies and placed him in the position that would define the next decade of his life, the conquest of Gaul. In 58 BC, Julius Caesar began the period of his life that would make him one of the most famous military commanders in history. After defeating the Helvetii, he continued campaigns against other Gallic tribes, gradually extending Roman control throughout the region. Over the next several years, Caesar fought a series of campaigns that expanded Rome's territory and brought him enormous wealth and prestige. The conquest of Gaul transformed Caesar's position in Roman society. His victories had expanded Roman territory significantly and brought enormous wealth back to Rome. His soldiers were highly loyal to him, having fought alongside him for years and sharing in the rewards of his campaigns. Caesar also became extremely popular with many ordinary Romans who admired his military success. By the end of the Gallic Wars in 50 BC, Caesar had become one of the most powerful men in the Roman Republic. Many members of the Roman Senate were concerned that Caesar had become too influential, and they feared that he could use his military power to dominate Roman politics. Roman law required him to give up control of his armies before returning to Rome. Caesar feared that if he returned to Rome without the protection of his army, he would be vulnerable to prosecution from his political enemies. In January 49 BC, Caesar made the decision that changed Roman history. He crossed the Rubicon River with one of his legions and entered Italy. Roman governors were forbidden from bringing their armies into Italy, so this act was considered a declaration of war. He quickly moved through Italy and many of his opponents withdrew rather than immediately fight him. Pompey and his supporters eventually left Italy and moved east, where they gathered their forces. Caesar pursued them, first securing control of Spain before travelling to Greece to confront Pompey directly. The decisive battle between Caesar and Pompey took place at Pharsalus in 48 BC. Although Pompey's army was larger, Caesar's experienced legions defeated his forces. Pompey fled to Egypt, where he was later killed after arriving at the court of the young Egyptian king Ptolemy XIII. Caesar arrived in Egypt shortly afterwards and became involved in the political conflict between Ptolemy and his sister Cleopatra VII. Caesar supported Cleopatra's claim to the throne, and their alliance resulted in Cleopatra regaining her position as ruler of Egypt. After further campaigns in North Africa and Spain, Caesar had defeated all major opposition, and by 46 BC he had returned to Rome as the undisputed leader of the Roman world. This concentration of power created concern among his opponents. The title of king was deeply unpopular in Roman culture, and rumours spread that Caesar wanted to become a monarch. Whether Caesar actually intended to become king remains debated by historians. However, many senators believed that action needed to be taken, and a group of conspirators began planning his assassination. The conspiracy against Caesar was led primarily by two senators, Marcus Junius Brutus and Gaius Cassius Longinus. The conspirators chose the date of the 15th of March 44 BC, known as the Ides of March. Their opportunity came when Caesar attended a meeting of the Senate at the theatre of Pompey. According to ancient sources, the conspirators surrounded Caesar and attacked him with daggers. More than 20 senators were reportedly involved in the plot. His death was intended by the conspirators to restore the Roman Republic. However, the result was the opposite. The assassination created another period of civil conflict. So, what did Julius Caesar actually look like? Unlike many people from the ancient world, Julius Caesar is one of the historical figures where we have an unusually strong evidence for his appearance. Now, these sources don't give us a perfect photograph of Caesar, but they do provide several important clues about the way he looked and how he wanted to be represented. So firstly, one of the most important sources of evidence comes from Roman coins. They show a man with a long, narrow face, prominent cheekbones, a large nose, and a high forehead. The portrait does not appear designed to make Caesar look youthful or idealized. It presents him as an older, experienced statesman. Now, another important source of evidence comes from marble portraits. Several surviving busts are believed to represent Caesar, although it is true that some historians continue to debate the exact dates and origins of some examples. But the most famous is the Tusculum portrait, which many scholars believe may have been created during Caesar's lifetime. Unlike late artistic depictions that often portray Caesar as a heroic figure, these portraits appear a lot more realistic. So the face is narrower and more angular, his cheeks are slightly hollow, and the eyes appear quite deep set, and his expression is serious and controlled. So rather than presenting Caesar as a perfect warrior, the portraits show a man who appears older and more experienced. Finally, we also have written sources that provide details about Caesar's appearance. The Roman historian Suetonius, who wrote about Caesar around 150 years after his death, described some of his physical characteristics. According to him, Caesar was tall, had a fair complexion, but had dark eyes. He also wrote that Caesar was quite conscious of his thinning hair. So, using all of the historical sources available, we can create an artistic interpretation of what Julius Caesar may have looked like. So here we have the real face of Julius Caesar. Thanks for watching this video with History with Damien. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think Caesar really looked like that? Or do you think there are some other historical sources that can give us some idea of what he really looked like? Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.